Welcome everyone, this is Sina Qadri, and today we are going to talk about a little bit of an issue that I was facing and I believe some people also do. So I decided to make a video about it, like a tutorial for those who don't really know how to create a rain droplet like this without using a single shader. And yeah, I also included a very simple rain for the example project. So we are going to start this from scratch in a new scene. Let me save that. All right. So now we are going to create a node, simply a node, and we are going to create a, what do you call this? A sub viewport. Remember in Godot 3, sub viewport is actually named as a viewport instead of just having a sub word before it. So this method is also working for Godot 3 as well. So yeah, after you added a viewport, you are going to enable transparent background and keep the size in 512 by 512. Then we are going to select the node again because we need a preview before adding it to the sub viewport. We are going to add a particle 2D, actually a CPU particle 2D. We are not going to use a GPU because it is not that necessary. We are going to set the amount to like maybe 70 particles per round, and we are going to set the lifetime to 5.5 or something like that. We are going to keep the FPS around 18. We are going to disable fract delta because we want this to use minimum amount of processing from our CPU. We are going to the drawing. We are going to set a texture for that. For that, we decided to use a normal map of a mesh that is being exported from Blender. It is actually a mesh with a normal map extraction, let's just say, and it is a 64 by 64 without any meep maps. Otherwise it won't look great on far distance, especially if you have nearest meep map on in your project. So we are going to add the droplets here, and as you can see, it is like falling down for some reason. Oh, interesting. So we're going to the gravity. We are going to set the gravity to 0 by 0. So by this way, it won't just move. We are going to set the emission shape from a point to rectangle. Or you can just use a sphere if you have a specific reason. We are going to set this to 400 by 400. Remember, this is in pixels. So 400 is optimal because our viewport is 512. If we think this is a 64 by 64 texture, at least 400, or let's just say 450 is optimal. So it won't just look like clipping through the texture because we cannot make this seamless, right? So we are going to the scale. We are going to set the scale to a little bit to be low, maybe like that. After we do that, we are going to create a scale. We are going to set the scale from a big to half a size. Let's just increase that size a little bit again. All right. And then we are going to keep this like that. Then at the end, fade out. We can use color to change the way this particle appears. We can create a color ramp for this. As you can see now, it goes from black to white. It is because it's following this direction while the particle is processing, every particle I mean. So we are going to set this to white full color. We are going to add another white here, and we are going to the raw. We are going to set this to 2 by every mana, so it will look bright, then goes to the normal color. Then we are going to add another one all the way to the end. Then we are going to the very end. We are going to set this to be transparent. And as you can see, the particles do fade out before completely being small. By this way, we can create a seamless rain movement. For the rotation, by the way, if you have a normal map that is completely fine with the rotation, then you can just go to here, angle minimum and angle maximum in a random number, so it will always be random. Don't use any curves for angle because we don't need an angle here, right? Like, I mean an angle animation. So after we created that, we're going to rename this to be rain. After we do that, we are going to the node section here in the groups. We are going to create a group for this because we want to control this, of course, right? Because this will be always part of your object. So we are going to set this to be droplet. You can control this from any script right now. You can just say, for example, in here, create a script, droplet. All right. So now we are going to ignore the fact that this is a parent of this child, and we are going to pretend that this is from another scene, right? So we're going to say function process delta, for example. We're going to for droplet in get scene, I mean get tree, sorry, get nodes in group. We are going to set this to be droplet, same as this one. Then we are going to say, for example, in here, let's say this is a game manager, a game management system. Export var is raining equals false, and then we are going back to here. If is raining, if it is raining, it means it is true. Then go droplet, and what was the property of this again? Let's see. Emitting equals true, or maybe just instead of that we are just going to just do that. It will be much simpler. And now if I set this to be a tool, if we set this to be a tool, and if I save this as example 2 maybe, and if I go here and go back, reload the scene entirely, you can see it is false. It is completely false right now. Let's just move this to here so we can see what we are going to do. If we enable raining here, it will start, and if we don't, the remaining particles, if we disable this, the remaining particle will just fade away because the particle system is disabled. So that's how you can control that, just with a group system. Remember, if you are having a code that is being auto-loaded, you can just use this specific line of code just to control it. After we do that, we want to add an object to have this normal map, right? We are going to, for example, let's just use that vehicle again. We will set this to be local. We are just going to have this here, delete this. We don't need any part, we just need the vehicle body. We are going to create a material for the body, maybe something like that. Let's just say this is a, maybe, I don't know, maybe a blue, no, yellow, no, it will look like a taxi. So I think orange can also do for us. And let's just create some metallic looking car like this. Sorry. And in the normal map section, we can just by the way, if you are using a material that you just created, make sure the local to scene is enabled on that material, otherwise this method is not going to work. So after we create a viewport texture, it looks like broken right now. It is pretty normal. Assigning this viewport will solve our issue somehow, like this, like a negative 0.15. Then we are going to enable this for a second. Okay, so let's just go ahead and set the UV mapping to be triple linear, and as you can see, if we set the sharpness to be high enough and we scale this down a little bit, you can see that it does have a raining particle, right? But let's just fix this a little bit, maybe like that. It it is broken. All right. And as you can see, we have rain droplet on your vehicle, and it looks pretty cool. If this video helps you out, please like and subscribe. This really helps me out as a small content creator, and I will be really appreciating it. I will also link this project down below so you can just use it right away if you are like very hard, very, if you are just lazy, if you know what I mean. Anyways, so thank you for watching. I really appreciate you for your time. Stay sideways.